Okay, welcome everybody to today's call. We are pretty excited about today. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at a couple of things within Ads Manager, particularly the ad set. And we have been working a little bit with Jenny. She's been a little bit more doing some things independent. She's from Pedego. And I believe we've chatted about them, about their business a little bit in the past, but we're going to do a live kind of breakdown of what she's been working on and give you guys a little bit of insight on how to look at these ad sets and how to analyze them. And we'll give some suggestions back and forth. But first of all, my name is Brad Forbush. I'm president of Strategic Social Partners, and I am on the screen is Ryan Harris. He's not with us this morning, so I got this kicked off. We have Mitch Adams, who's going to be navigating a little bit behind the scenes and showing you a couple of the results from Jenny's ads. Jenny, could you first of all tell us a little bit about Pedego and what you guys do so that we have a little bit of an idea of your business?
Sure. So we started out in about 2008. We manufacture electric bikes. We have about 12 different models now. And what we've done since I started about 5 years ago, we used to sell to independent bike shops. We've now started selling to Pedego branded stores. So they sell strictly only Pedego. We've grown from about just started off with one, and now we have over 97 dealers worldwide. So what our demographic, I'll basically tell you, is baby boomers 40 and up, people who are looking to get fit, people who are looking to get back into bike riding, and that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you. That is sounds like a really fun business. I know Ryan has kind of raved about it. He's had some experiences with it. And did you say 96 locations?
We're at our 97th store now.
Wow, that's awesome. So I should land in one of those locations soon to be able to experience it myself. But all right, well, let's just dive in. Mitch, do you want to pull up your screen?
Yes, I can do that. Give me just a second. And everybody that's listening in, if you have a question along the way, don't hesitate to type that in the chat box and we can make sure to go back. So Jenny, now we're in Jenny's Ads Manager here, and can everyone see my screen? I guess we should start there.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
At least I can. David Stratton says yep, so we're good to go.
Okay. Well, that's two people, so hopefully everybody else can.
Yeah.
So Jenny, we're going to be talking about this top campaign here, well, the ad set of, you said it's a video of somebody named David that has logged over 40,000 miles on his Pedego bike, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay, so give us a little bit more context, give us a little bit more of an idea of what's the goal of this specific ad set, just so that as we walk through it, we can see if we're reaching our goals most effectively.
Sure. So the goal of this video campaign was basically brand awareness within those targeted cities. Those cities were chosen based on where our dealers are located. I targeted people 40 and up. David, the subject of this video, is an 82-year-old who has had his bike for a few years. It's a city commuter model, and he's put over 40,000 miles on it. So that was our goal, basically just create brand awareness.
Okay, awesome.
First of all, I just wanted to make a comment and say, first of all, that's great content because that's a really great story. And that's, that's the first thing I noticed. I haven't even seen the video yet, but just the concept of 40,000 miles on one of these bikes is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. Let me pull up the post real quick so that everybody can see it, and so that I can see it as well. All right. So David has logged over 40,000 miles on his beloved Pedego, and they are both still going strong. I expect it to do another 40,000 easily, he says with confidence. That's awesome. So can people kind of see this video?
Mhm.
Yep. It's a little choppy, but yeah, we can see it. And I assume he's talking
Yeah,
about
he's
his
talking.
experience. Okay.
Yeah, so he's just saying he loves his Pedego bike, just and then saying he's ridden it about 40,000 miles and he expects to do another 40,000 easily. So like Brad said, fantastic content, and that's the beginning of a good ad set and the beginning of a good awareness campaign, which is the goal that Jenny has told us.
Mhm.
Yep.
So let's go
really
back.
well put together too.
Yeah, and you could tell it's a very professionally good put together video, but it's still very authentic. It's that guy talking.
Yep.
I mean, that interview wasn't entirely scripted. I bet the questions were prepared ahead of time, but he could have said whatever he wanted on that video.
We tried to keep it short too. It's about a minute long.
Yeah. Also very good. So let's look in here and look at all the settings that she chose to go with. So lifetime budget, $100. Now on the lifetime budget, then you can choose to go a lifetime budget or a daily budget. And the difference is lifetime, that's the entire life. You're going to spend $100, nothing more, nothing less. It might be a few cents off sometimes. A daily budget is how much you want to spend each day. The advantage to each lifetime budget, it's very easy to say this is the amount I want to spend. Whereas with a daily budget, then it's kind of like you leave a question in your head. You have to do math to figure out how much you really want to spend. But a daily budget, the advantage is if you're not really sure, you're just saying like, oh, I want to see how this video is going to do, then a daily budget can be fantastic because then you can just let it run daily and then you can kind of change it. You can say, okay, it's doing really well, so I'm going to increase the budget at any time. And then that works with daily budget. And then schedule, let's see, May 30th to June 6th, that's 7-8 days. So that's a good amount of time to run on a $100 budget. So the audience, this is something that we talked a lot about last week in setting up an ad set. Let's look. So these cities are the places where you have those dealers. Okay. So that part of an audience is pretty obvious. Now, one thing we could talk about is you did plus 25 miles on each city. Tell me more about that.
Well,
You're thinking.
we have found a lot of our dealers, there are people that do travel kind of far in order to go see them, just because we have a lot of our dealers basically in California, but not too many in the Midwest, Boise areas like that. So people are willing to travel up to an hour to these dealers. And if not, at least they know there's one fairly close, and they can still, if they wanted to learn more, they can go to the website, call in, they can place their order online, they can place their order at the phone.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like maybe, in the situation of Boise, I mean, is that your only dealer within hundreds of miles? Right. So on a place like Boise, Idaho, then it might be a good idea to increase this radius to 50 miles to reach out to more people. If you found that people are willing to travel that far, that's a fantastic indicator of a good business, but you could reach out to more people by changing just this one. Okay. Whereas places like Palm Springs, California, I mean, I haven't been to California a lot, but my understanding of 25 miles in California is a lot longer than 25 miles in Boise, Idaho, let's say, just because there's so much traffic, there's so much city, there's so much everything, right? And so you might even consider and say, okay, we found that people are willing to travel, like you said, an hour. And so how far around Palm Springs does it take to actually go an hour? Or how far can you go in an hour? Can you realistically go 25 miles? And so change each of these kind of more custom to the landscape and how far people are willing to travel.
Okay.
And so the way to do that for benefit of everyone, if you're in here in the audience, then let's say Boise, and then you can either use this slider or you can just type it in. Oh, it went out of it. You can highlight it and type it in and then hit enter. It changes that. And so you can change it for each of these cities individually. But this is fantastic that you specifically went to all these cities. And so it's nice. Also, Facebook gives this map, so you can kind of look and see, oh, these are all the places that we're doing it. One thing to note, when you are doing like various locations like this, then sometimes autocorrect when you're typing them in gets kind of crazy. So it's not a bad idea to scroll out and make sure you didn't accidentally get it in another country. I actually did that once. And we had a client do that once too. She's an Idaho-based business, and she was targeting people in like Africa or something. So yeah, and she got in trouble with shipping because she shipped products. So that's something to be careful of. Just a little side note, just kind of look around the map, make sure that these pins are actually where you want them to be, because autocorrect when you're typing in can get kind of crazy. So I'm just going to exit out of that, but that's how you would change that. Age 40 to 65 plus. Also, like we talked about, that's a fantastic place where she can limit it down based on, you know, the person in the video was an older man. You said 82?
82.
And so he's going to relate more. I mean, so if this ad was shown to me as a 26-year-old, then I might think, well, that's a bike for old people. However, the bike can be fantastic for old people or young people, right? And so you can easily have another video, and I'm sure you have one, of a younger person riding the bike. But this ad in specific is going to relate better to people in the older range. Now, interests. So all of these interests, we have camping, being outdoors, RV, everything RVing. So pretty much camping and RVing were your interests?
Yeah, so the reason behind this is we actually just launched a new Airstream bike. So we kind of started promoting that. We're really going to place money on that this week. Since our press release was released, we're going to launch also a social media campaign, and it's going to be a giveaway for this Airstream bike. So I use this campaign to segue into our new Airstream launch.
Okay. And so the Airstream bike, is it styling and it's just meant to go along with an Airstream trailer?
Correct.
Okay. So one thing I would suggest with that is to get more specific, because with these interests, then you're pretty much getting everybody that likes camping, whether it's with tents or whether it's with an Airstream. And so when it's specific to an Airstream bike, then I would probably get more specific and focus on this Airstream interest that you have. And maybe a few other ones. I'm guessing that's going to be pretty small. But maybe a few other types of trailers that are very similar to an Airstream, instead of just all of the camping types interests. Because, you know, a lot of these people that are getting in here are going to be the people that want to go backpacking like 50 miles up into the mountains. And those types of people, they're not going to be taking one of your bikes. So that's really good. But on a more general campaign, which this is kind of a hybrid, it sounds like, where it's kind of general, but it's kind of leading towards the Airstream, then it can be a good idea to do all of these. But one other thing you could do to kind of niche it down a little bit more and get more specific is do and statements. So I'll show everyone how to do that. Basically, the difference is the difference between the words of and or. And on Facebook targeting, then it's a big difference. So basically with this targeting here, then it's find somebody that likes adventure RV or Airstream or camping, being outdoors, or Camping Life magazine, or camping with family. Now, there's nothing really wrong with that. The part that's not as ideal is that a lot of people, you know, the Facebook targeting or interest-based targeting is not perfect, meaning somebody has liked Go Camping America on accident, let's just say. Meaning they don't really care about camping. They don't really care about being outdoors. They'd much rather just sit on their couch and scroll through their phone on Facebook. And for some reason, they accidentally liked Go Camping America. Or another good example is, let's say, let's think of a good one.
Another
camping
way.
With.
Oh,
sorry, what's that?
I interrupted.
Go ahead.
There's a lag time, so I didn't mean to. So another way I like to think about this detailed targeting or target interest-based targeting on Facebook is that interests change over time. So Facebook's been around long enough now. You know, I like different things 10 years ago than I like now. But I don't take the time to go in and say, oh, I need to unlike that page from Facebook that I liked 10 years ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it can also happen with giveaways. Let's say that Camping with Family, the page, was running a giveaway for something that's not completely related to camping, but it's more related to family. And so they picked up 100,000 of these likes of people that just liked family, but they didn't necessarily like camping. So all of those things combined, one thing you can do is go to an and statement with part of these. So how you're going to do that is go to this little narrow audience, and let's just put some of these on the other one. Well, actually, I'll just do some of the suggestions. So we're going to do RV travel, RVing, RV camping. And these aren't necessarily the best ones to put in, but I just want to show you how to do it and what it means to your ad set. And so now we also need to come up, and if any of these are duplicated, then we need to remove them from the top one. So remove adventure RV, remove everything about RVing. And the reason I'm removing them is because if they're on both, then it doesn't really do anything, right? So now what this does for the ad set is the audience was 130,000 people before. Now it's 7,800 people. So that audience does need to be bigger, so we'd have to spend more time doing this. But it's so much smaller because now these people, they have to like one of these pages. So it's still Airstream or Camping Being Outdoors or Camping Life magazine all up here. But then they also have to like, with the and must also match one of the following. So they must also match one of these 6 interests as well. And so that goes back to the giveaway point. If there wasn't as likely 2 pages running a giveaway at the same time to get these people on accidentally, people aren't as likely to accidentally like 2 pages. The same thing with the interests. If people are continuing to like pages about the same thing, to Brad's point, then they probably still have that interest. And so this is a great way to get a more targeted subset of your audience. Now, in doing this, let's talk about audience size. Because we did put this down to 7,800 people. So there's 2 things you can do. This isn't 96 locations, right? Or 97. So you could add more locations, which would add more people that are in this types of interest to do that. But then you could also, I was just putting random ones here to make the point of and must also match. But you could put in each category some of the biggest pages. So you can see Camping with Family and Friends. This is a very small page. don't put that in the bottom section by itself. Whereas Camping World and so Camping World is a big one, and I'm trying to find another big one. There's a lot of small ones here. That's another part of the problem. So Camping with Family is another big one, and Camping World are big ones. So you'd want to have big ones in both of them. Does that make sense? Big audiences on the top and big audiences on the bottom. And then, so depending on the audience, you can go even a step further and say they have to like 3 of these types of pages. I think in your case where you're only in specific cities, I don't think that's going to work. Mm-hmm. But for other people on the call that are maybe have nationwide audiences, then it could work to go 3 deep. And then the other thing you could do is exclude people. If there's a certain interest that you don't want to target, then you could exclude those types of people. And that'll just make your audience much more niche down. But then you're going to do people who live in this location. So that's people who they've marked on Facebook, I live in Boise, Idaho. Or it can be everyone in this location. So that means just people that are here. And people always ask me, well, how does Facebook know where you are? Your phone has a GPS, and most people have location services turned on. And so then Facebook pulls that data, they know where you are. You can turn that off if you want, but most people don't. So for a marketer, it's fantastic. For your personal privacy, it's not so fantastic. People recently in this location, so that's if their most recent location that Facebook has captured was here, or people traveling in this location. And this is probably what you would want to do. And so you can see the little description there. People's whose most recent location is within the selected area, but whose home is more than 125 miles away. And so specifically for like Florida, California, where it is common for people to travel there, then I think that'd be fantastic to do people traveling in this location, because people are probably traveling more than 125 miles to get there. Kendall added a thought on targeting people who like Runner's World magazine. Fantastic idea, Kendall. I mean, there's a million people that you could target with different types of magazines and fitness related stuff. And it's all worth testing. So you could make an RVing camping audience like you have here, and then you could have a runners type audience, and then you could have a bikers type audience. Anyway, but traveling, do you have anything to add there, Brad?
I would just add, not necessarily on the traveling, but on the targeting in general. If you're doing any other traditional media buys or, I don't know, print ads or potentially in these publications like Runner's World magazine, you definitely want to try and combine those efforts. So if you are doing any of those traditional media buys, then you should target the similar aspects here, because they're going to see you across more than one platform. So just keep that in mind as well. So like if you had a physical print ad in Runner's World magazine, for example, you definitely want to target them here. That would make complete sense.
That would make a lot of sense. Get those multiple touch points.
Yeah, because people, need multiple touch points, which is why you've started with this awareness ad, right? You're not expecting people to come running into the store to rent a bike or to buy a bike. You're getting the word out there to get in front of some people so that they can mentally say, oh, that's cool. And then the next go around, they're like, oh, wow, that's actually in my neighborhood. I didn't know that. Or, hey, I'm planning a trip to this location, and And so I was in Boise last week. I didn't know you guys had one there. Otherwise, I would have went and checked it out. So, but yeah, it takes multiple touch points, which is the purpose of this awareness campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've gotten in front of a lot of people. Over 7,000 people have seen this video. And then optimization for ad delivery video views. That was selected based on the campaign. It's a video views campaign. Bid amount automatic. For the basics and for getting started, automatic is the best way to go. There's a lot more you can do with manual, but it's much more advanced. Now, one thing that is good to change is this impression, and this is worth testing as well, but change to 10-second video view.
Yeah, that just means that you're getting charged per 10-second video view versus getting charged on per impression. So every time it shows up, regardless of whether or not someone actually sat and watched a minute or 10 seconds actually. So, but that, like Mitch said, that's worth testing because these things change over time.
Yep, definitely changes. And I'm not going to save any of these changes that we've looked at today. Any other specific questions, Jenny? A couple. Well, let's look at Kendall's thought. Once you get somebody on the bike, the sale is a lot easier. Offering a free demo. Fantastic idea. Have you guys done that before?
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like what Kendall's saying there is true based on what Ryan has said as well, is once people get on the bike, they understand it so much better. It's one of those things you just have to try to appreciate, right? So once you get them on the bike, the sell of the bike becomes a lot easier. And I'm sure not only that, but you probably get return visitors and word of mouth visitors and everything off of that.
Yeah. We need to wrap up here, but just one last thought that I've done sometimes on our ad sets is, as we said, then touch points is extremely important. And so if you can get multiple touch points with your people on Facebook, then that's a great idea. And so you've had a lot of videos over the time that you've been doing this. And so retargeting those people that watch only just 10 seconds to 25% of your video with a separate ad set is good. And what that can do is kind of boost some of the engagement on the front end so that then this other ad set does even better.
I definitely,
because I've noticed as the video does well, meaning people watch it, people engage with it, then it does better and the ads become cheaper. And so if you can initially get a bunch of reach with your already warmed up customers, because they've already seen it, they already like your stuff, they already know what it is, they're more likely to watch your video and engage with it. And then you start the this ad set to a cold audience after that. So let's say you post a video on Monday, and then you start with boosting it to your warm audience on Tuesday, and then you start boosting it to your cold audience on Wednesday. I found that sometimes helps with the initial organic engagement. And what that does, for instance, is we have a video for one of our clients that yesterday when I looked, it had reached 19,000 people on about the same ad spend. Just because the video just went semi-viral. I mean, not completely viral because it's pretty localized, but semi-viral. And half of that reach was organic. So about 9,500 of it was organic reach just because the video performed very, very well. And we also started it that way. The first people I boosted it to was people that had already watched part of one of the previous videos. So that's another little trick that you can do to get more views on a video. Or your email list. If you have an email list, then send it out to your email list first, and they're more likely to engage with it.
Another way to do that is just to pay for it. So put a little bit more hefty budget on that front end and, per day. So if you went, you kind of got to hold your breath a little bit, but if you changed from $100 over a week to $100 a day for just a couple days, that kind of spurs a lot of activity on that ad, and then you can walk it back and do some of those conversion ads as well. So there's a couple different ways of going about it, but yeah, that works super well. Jenny, do you have any other questions for us? You bet. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. I know it's kind of opening up the back end of your ad account to us is beneficial, hopefully for you, but definitely for other people to look on. So we are going to wrap up now. We will be sending out this as a replay. I know a lot of people have been watching those replays. So for those of you who watch the replay, come back and try and make it on with us live next week at the same time, same place. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.